Welcome back to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. So we're working on the Autometric jig bore motor mount again, and Mr. Bozo came to town, so we got a little mistake that we have to take care of. And this is the kind of mistake I call I call it a team effort. So and there's no I in team. Remember that. So anyway, let's pop over. It's actually going to be good because I'll get to show a technique for repairing a boo-boo, and that you guys will like, and I won't have to do a whole bunch of, I won't have to make a new motor mount, let's put it that way. So let's pop over to the Kearney and Trecker Autometric jig bore. We'll take a look at the problem, and then we'll talk about how we're going to fix it, and then we're going to fix it. So let me get an apron on, we'll pop over there and have a look at this thing. Okay, so here's my problem here, and it has to do with this mounting pattern here. And these are quarter 20s, and here's the stock motor mount, and it has a pattern in it. Oops. Of course. Get rid of that. Of course. Nothing works, right? Okay, so it's got a pattern that goes on here and lines up. Now, when I first looked at this pattern, I looked at it, I go, okay, it's 3 holes equally spaced on a bolt circle, but the 12 o'clock hole here is pitched over at a little angle, right? So I focused on this hole here, and I measured this hole and its offset. And it turned out that it was a nice number, or what I call a nice number. It was 10 degrees off of vertical, okay? And then I measured the radius from the center here to that hole when I got that. So when I laid out my pattern, what I did is I just made the assumption, and that's the mistake that I made, that this was a equally spaced pattern. And at first glance, it looks equally spaced. Well, it turns out that it's not. And but it's very close. So it's one of those, why the heck did they do that kind of a thing? Bad designer, that's my first comment. But bad machinist for not verifying it, okay? And a simple check with a scale center to center would have actually caught this mistake, and it would have caught my attention, and I would have measured it a little closer. So, when I have a bolt pattern like this, I tend to do the math and drive to the coordinates to produce, a 3-hole pattern like that. So I'm 33% right. I've got this hole is correct, but these 2 holes are off. And then, so what I'm going to do, I'll take you over and I'll show you, we'll get a look at how far off they are, and then we'll talk about how we're going to fix those. I don't really want to make this plate again, and it's not necessary. We can do a nice repair on this. I don't want to weld this because that's got its own little set of problems welding through a plate like this. You really have to work at it pretty hard to get a good clean fill through there. So we're going to plug those with a plug that will be permanent in there. So it'll be a press fit. And then we'll re-drill the holes, or transfer punch the holes off of our stock motor mount, and that'll get us out of trouble. So let's go look at what the how far off these are, and how stupid this pattern is, to tell you the truth, and then the kind of plug we're going to make and how we're going to fix that. Okay, so let's start by, what we're going to do is just lay this on top here. And then I'm going to shim that up a little bit so it sits flat. And then I'm just going to drop a drill through that fits pretty tight. And I've got a nice center line here that I can sight through and get lined up on. So, and then now I'll bring the camera over and we'll look through those holes, and you can see you can see what Mr. Bozo did there, and how far off we are. So let me take the camera off, and or actually, you know what, I'm just going to wheel it over and point it straight down, and we'll get a good shot of that. So okay, so looking straight down at that, you can see here, it's it's 3/4, well, I don't know, it's more than half a hole off. I can just see the hole that I drilled. So, and then the edge of the countersink here is just on the opposite side of the hole here. So we have to come out at least to that diameter when we punch through there. So anyway, let's get a piece of paper, and I'm going to show you what kind of plug we're going to put in that, and how we're going to put it in. All right, so we're just going to draw this plate in cross section here. So this is our motor mount plate here. Okay, let's draw a break line there. And what we have going on right now is we have a countersink, okay, that goes through the plate like that, okay? And this countersink is, it's in the wrong place. We need to shift the center over, something like that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're just going to blow that out of there, okay? And looking at the hole, I need to blow it out to about this diameter here to catch everything, right? So all this stuff will be gone. So we'll have a straight hole through that's equal to this diameter here, okay? Like that, okay? And I don't know, somewhere around 1/2 inch or 5/8, something like that. Okay, so then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to counterbore this, okay, down into my hole here. So we're going to create a counterbore like so, approximately like that. So all that'll be gone too. So now we're actually going to have a hole that looks like this. Actually, it'd be like that. Okay, so we'll have a hole that looks like that. All right, and then we're going to create a plug that looks like this, where this distance here is a little more than that, and then this distance here, okay, is a little more than that. So when we install the plug, it'll look kind of like this. I hope you're following all that, okay? So that's what the plug will look like installed, okay? Then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll mill that off flush, okay? And we'll mill that off flush. And if we do a good job with our counterbore and our pin, and we press this together, okay, and you don't want to chamfer here or anything like that. You press it all together nice and tight, and then we mill this off and you do a little sanding work, you won't even notice that it's there, okay? Then what will actually happen is that plug will be in like that, and then what we can do is re-drill our pattern and re-countersink it after the fact, and it can be eccentric to the plug and nobody cares, right? And then when it's all tightened up and secure, it pulls up tight to the machine, and if for some reason these loosened up or something like that, it can't fall apart. But we're going to make sure it's got a nice stout press fit. And anyway, that's how we're going to fix those. And so it's actually a good exercise because this is a fairly common thing. Somebody gets a hole in the wrong place, whether it be a machinist or a designer, an engineer, or whatever, and they don't want to scrap the plate. So making recoveries from things like this is just part of the work. Okay, and I'm not happy about it, obviously, but hey, you know what? I got a lot of other things to worry about, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over this one. Okay, so let's get cracking on that. Okay, so we're going to set this up in a kind of a similar way that we put the wrong holes in the first place. So and then, so I don't want to make another bozo mistake, but we want to just mark this one that we're going to leave that one alone. That one's fine, and that we're just going to be doing these two here. So to pick these holes up, I'm just going to drop an appropriately sized drill through there, like so. So let's get a little closer, something like that. Okay, I can go clamp there. Okay, so that holds me. Now I'm just going to slap a clamp on it. So like so. And so I'm set up, and I just gotta crank those down a little. Okay, that comes out. Okay, so we want to probably go for some nominal size here. So what I think I'm going to do is I have some reamers around 1/2 inch, so let's just go with that, and that will almost clear out that that countersink there. Okay, and then I can ream that hole, and also I'll have a nice, smooth, accurately sized hole. It won't just be a drilled hole. So let me go get a drill and a reamer, and then we'll get to this. All right. So this is at 15 thousandths undersize. And that looks okay. So once I ream this, they'll all be the same. So I'll just pin them to get an accurate size. Okay, so that gives me a nice smooth finish, which is really friendly for press fits. Okay. All right. So that's one. Now, so while I'm here, do I want to counterbore right now? Well, I got a good hole. No, I think I'm going to do this second one, and then I'll come back with a different tool to counterbore that, because otherwise I got a chuck change in there. All right, so let's do the second one here. All right, go back to our original setup here to pick it up. Come up. Like so. Drop into the hole. Set that down. Okay, oops. Like so. Come on, you little rat. Oh, can you get out of there? No. Of course not. Okay, there we go. Okay, so, all right, so now the next step is going to be to, I don't have a rag handy, the next step is to counterbore this. So what I want to do is, when I make my plug, okay, I want to make sure that I turn that diameter there, and I want to make sure I turn that diameter. So what we want is this to be slightly smaller than a piece of rod that I have. So I have some 1-inch diameter rod on hand. So we'll probably make that a 7/8 counterbore is what we'll do there. So let me find a 7/8 tool and we'll plop in there, and then that allows me to turn that and press fit those in there. All right. Pin that down. Get a clampy on there. Oop. Alright, so this is our 7/8 tool that we're going to use to make the counterbore. And I've already done one, which you can see there. And I want to bore you guys to tears. So I'm going to touch off here and I'm going to set my coil readout so I can get the depth correct. And I just went 1/4 of an inch deep. Let's see, make sure you can see what I'm doing there. Yeah. And where's the screw? So I just want to be deeper than it'll be countersunk to, so that I leave some plug there no matter what. Okay? So let's see. Yeah, we're zeroed up. Let's go ahead and do another counterbore here. You guys can see that. And this is just a 4-flute end mill here. It's not perfectly flat on the bottom, but that's not going to matter for what we're doing here. Alright, 220, 230, 40, 7, 8, 9. Alright, okay. Alright, so that's the depth. Now, and I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. We don't want to do anything with that edge, okay? We want to leave that nice and crisp, okay? And you'll see why when we get to the plug. And same thing on the back side. And now this one down in here, we can actually chamfer that a little bit and it'll help us get the plug started. But I have another little trick for that I'll show you guys. So let's pull this off of the mill and let's go to the lathe and we'll make some plugs. Okay, so before we make our plugs, we want to measure these diameters, and we're going to pin these. And one of the reasons is it's easy to gauge the entirety of the hole with pins as you slip them in, because you can pass them all the way through the hole, so you get kind of an averaging effect. Now, I discovered something kind of interesting here off camera, and I'll share that with you guys here. And you'll probably notice this pin right here marked. So we counterbored these 7/8 diameter nominally with an end mill, and you know an end mill, depending on what you're doing with it, they generally don't necessarily cut exactly on size, which is the situation here. So this is an 875 pin here, and I'm just going to verify that. And this will make a lot more sense in a minute here. Okay, and these are minus pins, so they show they're 2/10 small. Now you can see that one just goes bleed. This flies right in there, and that's no kind of a fit, right? All right. So we'll just ramp up. That's 876. Okay. Okay, it's a little better. And this is exactly what I did. I said, oh, okay, 877. Oh my God, it's not even close. So, wow, what happened there? That one was kind of loose, the one below it, and this one won't even go. Check the size. So you always want to look at the size, and it does say 877 minus on it. But here's the kicker, and I'm pissed, is I measured the damn thing, and it's 895. not 877, so it's mismarked. And now these came from Enco, so these are MHC Industrial Supply, and this is some offshore brand or whatever. And you know, these are pins are fine to buy cheapies because it's pretty easy to verify them. Okay, like this. So, but I'm kind of annoyed that that is not correct. All right, now. It's not the end of the world. I'm not even going to send the set back. I'm probably not even going to complain, except on camera. Because I can buy these from McMaster-Carr for, I don't know, they're about $5 a piece. So I buy one, and I'll tell you what, forewarned is forearmed here. So when I use these sets, as I'm working my way through them, you can bet that I'm going to be miking these pins now from now on, at least these MHCs. You know, I have some... oh, who the hell are those guys? I can't even think of them right now. I have some American-made ones too, and you know, so, but now I'm scared, so I'm gonna be checking. So let's keep going here. That's 881. Okay. That's 881, and I checked it before, so. Okay, and that's an 880, and it just goes, we'll verify that. Okay, so the hole is nominally between 880 and 881. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, so we've got, just gonna call it 881, okay, on the big end there. And then we'll check the small hole the same way, verifying my offshore pins. Anyway, so forewarned is forearmed, so just be aware of that. And I right away marked it real quick. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave that out, and I'm gonna order a pin to fill that. But I may just go through and check the whole thing. That way, I'm comfortable that the set's okay with that exception, that anomaly. Okay. So anyway, then we're going to add a little bit to this diameter for a press fit in that, okay? And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so we took our measurements here, and so these are the actuals of the holes, all right? So let's make a chicken sketch here of our plug that we're going to make, okay? All right, actually it looks like that. So this is the plug we want to make. This is the actual. So we started out, or we measured about 501 diameter on that, and I want to add about 3 thousandths to that, something like that. So, okay, it's going to be around 504, something like that. And we want this nice and smooth and good diameter. And then what we'll do is we'll turn just a little short section here. That's about 1/2 of an inch, and this will help. This is a nice little lead in here when we start, okay? And then we get the length of the shoulder. So we this is 3/4 plate, we counterbored 1/4 of an inch, so that leaves a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to say this wants to be about, I don't know, let's make it about 5/8. It's better to be long than any short, okay? Can't do anything with short, all right? So that's that shoulder there. This diameter here, we're 881, and we're going to add maybe 2 or 3 to that also. So we're doing an interference fit here, okay? So well, let's do 3 again, so something like that, okay? And then once again, we want to be nice and smooth, okay? And we want to be longer. So this length here that we're going to lop it off here, we're going to add another 1/4 of an inch. So let's just make that 1 inch. Okay, let's just call it. All right, because we're going to be milling that off after we install the pin. Now we probably will break this edge just a little bit here, but that one and maybe this one just a teeny bit also. Okay, so that's the plug we're going to make. We need 2 pieces. All right. And let's go find a piece of aluminum and head over to the lathe and make some pluggies.